The scorecard is going dark. Customer success cannot. NDR is being quietly euthanized, not by the customers who stopped renewing, not by the market conditions that made expansion harder, by the actual companies themselves. CJ Gustafson, in his latest Mostly Metrics newsletter, spent time inside the SEC filings of 82 public software companies and surfaced a pattern that most of us have been quietly thinking about but had not yet named. The companies whose NDR is rising still publish it. The companies whose NDR is falling are moving to vague language, annual disclosure, or no disclosure at all. Workday refused an SEC request to publish their NDR. Fastly announced they were done reporting entirely. CrowdStrike switched to saying their NDR was, quote, in line with our expectations, end quote, which is a phrase that means absolutely nothing. And the consequence for you as a CS leader is that the industry benchmark median you are pulling into your board decks and your ELT reviews is contaminated. It is survivorship bias dressed up as data. Now, the real distribution is worse than the conversation in your boardroom suggests. So what does that mean for customer success? It means the scorecard is going dark, but customer success cannot. I'm Deidre Williams, and I am the founder of the Customer Success Universe and the creator of the Marvelous 6 Revenue Growth Engine, where I build content specifically for CS leaders at the director, VP, and Chief Customer Officer level. And this is the Marvelous 6 Superpower number 5, Hulk, Financial Power. So if you are in a CS leadership role right now, this video is for you. Now, I'm going to walk you through 6 impacts of this NDR disclosure shift, the specific moves to make for each one, and what happens to the CS leaders who do not act. Now, here's what you're going to learn in this video, and these are the 6 things that are most important, so you need to stay for all 6. 1, why the NDR benchmark median you are using is no longer reliable. 2, how to build the internal NRR narrative before the CF builds it for you. 3, why the seat-based expansion playbook has collapsed and what to replace it with. 4, how to protect the CS function from being repositioned as a renewals team. 5, what a CS contribution P&L looks like and why you need one before your next budget review. And then 6, and this is the most important one, how to get ahead of an org design conversation before the ELT starts it without you. 6 impacts, 6 moves, so let's get going. Impact number 1, the internal NRR scrutiny will intensify. NDR is not disappearing, it is just going inside the building. CFOs and boards are not abandoning this metric. They are pulling it off the public earnings call and onto the internal executive dashboard, where the burden explanation lands on the CS leader first, without the cushion of industry-wide commentary. Here is what you need to do before the CFO builds this narrative without you. Break your NRR numbers into parts: growth retention, gross expansion, contraction, and logo churn. Now walk into the next executive review with a clear view of which segments are driving which line and what your interventions are doing for each. And build the attribution view. Show which parts of the numbers CS actively influences, which part product influences, which part sales influences, and which part pricing influences. The leader who controls the framing controls the budget. Now, predictive analytic platforms have matured significantly. Gainsight Horizon AI, Catalyst, and Vitally, and PlanHat now offer a 90 to 120-day forward-looking NRR model. Bring that analysis to the table, not last quarter's spreadsheet. Impact number 2, the seat-based expansion playbook has collapsed. Peak NDR at Snowflake reached 177%. Datadog held above 130% for 14 consecutive quarters. That was built on a quote COVID-era tailwind that no longer exists. Customers were hiring, seats were expanding automatically, and then quarterly true-ups felt like CS performance when in reality they were headcount performance. Customers are not hiring like that anymore, and many are actively reducing seat counts. And no QBR cadence is going to fix a motion that was never built for this environment. Now, here are 3 structural changes you need to be advocating for right now. First, work with product and finance to introduce consumption-based or outcome-based pricing components for new contracts. Now, pure seat-based contracts are a liability in this environment. Second, retrain your CSMs to identify expansion tied to use case adoption and outcome attained, not user counts. Third, restructure your QBRs to lead with outcome attainment data in dollar terms. The customer should walk out of that meeting knowing what value they received, not what percentage of users logged in. Outcome modeling is where AI delivers the most leverage right now. Tools that translate product telemetry into customer-side ROI metrics like margin impact, cycle time reduction, headcount avoidance, and revenue lift are the difference between a QBR that earns a renewal and one that exposes a churn risk. Impact number 3. CS is at the risk of being relabeled a renewal function. Now, this is not a future risk. This is actually happening right now. When NDR was the headline metric, CS owned the growth story. When that metric disappeared from public conversation, sales, RevOps, or a newly invented growth function reclaimed the story. CS gets pushed into the renewals box, treated as the operational arm of the contract lifecycle. Establish a customer value realization motion that is structurally separate from revenue operations. Now, the two require different skill sets, different incentive structures, and different cadences. Combining them is part of why expansion has stalled in many CS organizations. Reframe the CS role. The CS is not merely a relationship manager. The CSM is a customer outcome architect. The job is to engineer the customer's ability to attain measurable value from the product on a defined timeline with documented proof. And make sure the language follows the structure. If the function looks like a renewal team on paper, it will be treated like one in budget conversations. Now, conversational intelligence platforms like Gong, Chorus, and Clary Copilot are now sophisticated enough to surface outcome signals, expansion language, and renewal risk from customer calls in real time. Deploy them across CS, not just sales. Impact number 4. Benchmark medians are misleading. This is CJ Gustafson's most important insight. The public NDR median you see in board decks and analyst reports is not the real median. Companies whose NDR is rising are still publishing. Companies whose NDR is falling have either stopped, gone vague, or moved to annual cadence. The comp set is self-selecting in real time. Now, many CS leaders are still pulling those contaminated public comps to defend or critique internal performance. Stop. Build internal performance baselines tied to your specific customer segments, deal sizes, industry, and product maturity. For external benchmarking, prioritize private market data sourced over public 10K analysis, the OpenView SaaS benchmarks, and Icon IQ growth reports will give you a more honest read than CrowdStrike's in line with expectations language. Then take that honest read into the executive conversation directly. Tell the CEO and CFO the public median is unreliable, and here's what I'm benchmarking against instead. Now, the CS organizations that can answer how its portfolio is performing in 30 seconds with confidence is the organization that survives the next budget cycle. Impact number 5. The narrative that CS funds itself is harder to defend. For 5 years, every CS leader has walked into budget conversations with the same pitch. The CS function pays for itself through expansion revenue, and here is the NDR number that proves it. But when the public NDR conversation goes dark, that pitch loses its external grounding, The CFO is not going to take industry NDR as a defense anymore. The public number is unreliable, and they know it. Now, most CS leaders are not seeing this as a budgeting risk yet. That is the problem. Here is what you need before your next budget review. Develop a clear CS contribution P&L that ties function cost to specific dollar outcomes. Not just retention dollars, not just expansion dollars, the full picture, cost of CS as a percentage of retained ROI, expansion dollars attributed to CS-driven motion, churn dollars prevented through CS intervention, and outcome dollars delivered in customer-side value. Now, walk into the next budget review with a one-page CS contribution P&L, not slides, one page. The CFO will respect the clarity, and you will set the terms of the conversation. AI-driven attribution models connect CS activities to revenue outcomes at a level that was not possible 3 years ago. This is no longer optional infrastructure. This is core to keeping your budget intact. Impact number 6. The ELT or the board may move expansion ownership out of CS. The pattern is clear. When public NDR falls, leadership asks, who owns expansion? CS says we do, sales says we should, and the ELT sides with sales. Expansion gets moved, CS gets repositioned as adoption and retention, and reversing it takes years. Do not wait for the ELT or the board to propose a restructure. Propose the model yourself in writing with clear ownership of expansion tied to defined outcomes and defined accountability. The strongest model in this environment is a shared expansion model where CS owns the customer value architecture with both compensated on expansion outcomes. Pick your model and propose it before someone else does. AI agents and digital CS workflows free your high-touch CSMs to operate as commercial actors. Long-tail accounts that used to consume CS capacity can now be served through AI-driven digital workflows, freeing your senior talent for outcome conversations with strategic accounts. Vendors like Catalyst, Vitally, and Churn Zero have all shipped meaningful agents capabilities in the latest months. The CS leader who builds the case for an AI-augmented operating model is the one who can credibly own expansion at scale. Now, here's the cost of inaction, the part I told you to wait till the end for. I want to be direct about the cost of inaction because the soft version of this conversation has been happening for 2 years and has not moved enough leaders to act. If you do not address these 6 impacts, here is what the next 2 budget cycles will look like. The CS organization will get restructured. Expansion moves to sales. The CS budget gets reclassified from commercial infrastructure to cost center. Headcount gets reduced by 20 to 30%. We're already seeing this. And senior CS titles get downgraded. Now, the chief customer officer role disappears in the next reorganization and gets replaced by a VP of customer operations, reporting into the CRO. Your top CSMs leave. The replacements are cheaper, less experienced, and less capable of holding executive conversations. Renewal rates hold for 2 to 3 quarters, then erode as the institutional knowledge walks out the door. Product no longer invites CS to a roadmap conversation. Sales no longer brings CS into deal strategy. And finance no longer treats CS forecasts as credible inputs to the renewal model. The function becomes operationally necessary but strategically invisible. This is the trajectory of every CS organization that does not actively rebuild its operating model now. CJ Gustafson's piece is about disclosure patterns in public markets. What it actually exposes is the structural fragility of the customer success function in a post-seat expansion world. NDR was never a CS-owned metric. It has been the proxy for whether customer success is treated as a commercial infrastructure or as a service function. When the proxy goes dark, the burden of proof falls back on CS leaders to make the commercial case in their own terms. CS leaders did not create this asymmetry, but CS leaders cannot wait for someone else to fix it. The leaders who do this well will come out of the next 2 budget cycles running stronger, more credible, more commercially integrated organizations. The leaders who wait for the market to stabilize before acting will find that the market stabilized without them. The scorecard is going dark. Customer success cannot. Build the case, lead the conversation, and move first. I linked C.S. Gustafson's full article in the description below. Read it. It is worth your time. If this conversation is resonating, subscribe to this channel. I publish content for CS leaders at the director, VP, and CCO level, and this channel exists to give you the kind of insight that does not make it into most leadership conversations. And if you want to go deeper on any of these 6 impacts, drop me a question in the comments. And if you are a CS leader who has already been through a restructure or who is navigating one right now, I want to hear from you. Tell me what you're seeing. I'm Deidre Williams. This is the Customer Success Universe, part of the Marvelous 6 Revenue Growth Engine. And I hope that I'll see you at the next episode. Thank you.